wholesale loyalty. That's why they treat them $1 billion, here you go. Yeah, right. Well, they're already trying to build the Air Force One and they're sort of behind. Yeah, they can't get anything figured out. Me neither. They said it started when George Bush Sr. was that was 4 years ago?
Yeah, yeah.
40. Yeah, I guess that's right. Dang.
Anyway, it's not Jordan.
We did.
Parents had their 50th by
Oh, they did.
now. We had ours in December.
Cool. And how's Jordan?
He's a Halo.
Jumping out of airplanes?
Yeah, but he's the instructor.
He's the guy that teaches the guy.
Guys, he teaches the guys to jump out at 30,000 feet
That's next level.
into the sea with a 100-pound pack on their back.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Dogs, I said.
I look forward to him retired so we can spend some time with him. Check it out.
Well, Barb went home and she said, you have to
Ready for more fun?
Oh, yeah.
Trustees. Trustees.
Did you get one of these?
Can you get this back to the?
There's an extra one if somebody doesn't have one. Mike didn't have one.
I brought mine.
I think he may have left.
Brought
Oh,
mine,
thank
that's
you.
why. Probably was intended for me.
Man, we like the froze over here.
Guys,
Cold. I know, it's cold over.
cold in here.
Like,
I like it cold. You got all these people in here like sardines. I get hot. Not a lick. None of it. We got to go back to Comcast. Not one thing. That was a big deal.
Just look close seconds.
Mm-hmm.
We have to turn it right.
Okay. It is 6:36 p.m. I'm calling the Ross Township Board regular meeting to order. I'll rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, you may proceed with the roll call.
Christina Hutchins.
Aye.
Mary Stage, aye. Amanda Wiersma. Diana Langshaw. Trustee Beeks.
Aye. Here.
Trustee Harmon.
Here.
Trustee White.
Here.
Rob Fowles present.
Thank you. I'd be seeking approval of the agenda, but I want to work something out real quick with council. So, Rob, we had an individual write in and indicate that our meetings are being recorded and we are doing meeting minutes. And I know when we started down the avenue of becoming automated, we kept the minutes, and then once the minutes were official, then we got rid of the video. So now I think we want to explore, do we want to keep the video and what do the minutes look like? So before we move into approving the agenda and approving the minutes, if we want to keep this video up, do we want to pull the meeting minutes out? Because if we choose to keep the video live, then we won't need these minutes. So how does that work, and how do we do an approval of the agenda, knowing that's coming as new business at the bottom?
All right, so your meeting minutes are the official documentation of the board. So it doesn't matter what you video, what you save, what you put out there. It is the meeting minutes that are the official record. So if I have to go to court on something, that is the official record. That's what you're required to keep forever, your meeting minutes. Now, you can keep them in electronic format, but the written meeting minutes are required by law, and that is our official documentation of our meetings. We can then also film our meetings, however you would do that, whether it's live stream or recorded. And you can, you're fine to delete them if you want, because the minutes are the actual minutes of the meeting, but you can also save them if you want. Like many boards will have their meetings filmed, and, a lot are through cable access or other types of cable television service, and then they're kept by the access center. But, a lot of other townships will have them up on a server, so you can go and watch the videos if you want to. So that's really just a choice of the board as to how you want to proceed. Obviously, there's more costs associated with saving your videos or streams of your meeting and keeping them online and whatever the storage costs and, the costs of doing that are. But it's really policy of the board. So you can either, you're always going to have your minutes, and, the minutes really have to just reflect the actions taken. Unless it's a public hearing, then it's got to reflect more. But it's really just policy of the board. So however you want to do your, your online storage, you don't have to save it if you don't want to. Once the minutes are prepared, you can destroy it, but if you want to maintain them, you can do that too.
Okay. So I would be seeking an approval of the agenda as presented. Okay. So I have a motion support to proceed with the approval of the agenda as presented.
Second.
Yeah, we already have a second. All in favor? That's all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving forward to consent agenda.
Consent agenda be approved as written. Or as
Second.
received.
We have a motion and support to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Moving into citizen comment. You have 3 minutes to address the board, and please speak up. And who's going to lead us off and come to the podium?
Once again, my name's Chris Howard. We live at Midland Park. I want to thank the board for what they do, so tough job. So I just had a question and concern. I don't know if we're at the right board meeting. There's a lady that has a hot tree that fell on her house. Been sitting there for a month, almost 3 weeks, and I'm concerned what's going on. We live in Galesburg. My wife's tree just fell in the road after the tornado, and I'm like, is this gonna push your house over? Just a concern.
Should I take his number and then call him?
Yeah, that
Can
makes
you-
sense.
She's got a number.
Okay. So don't say it now because we're recording, but if you could grab us, there's agendas over there. If you could write down your name and number. I have been working on that
It's just a
matter.
concern. So I know you
Yep.
guys are working on it, but
Yep.
want to give it a little more grease to the wheel there.
Sure,
because it's
sure.
a concern.
This is over in the ministries where there's tons of children and,
Gonna get this.
Use the microphone. Can you lead in the
Oh,
microphone?
tons of children. And if you've been over there, the houses are practically right on top of the
Right.
road. So
So I can give you the short answer, okay? So it's not township property.
That's why they don't in the right place.
Yeah, you are and you aren't. We have had dialogue with that particular homeowner, and we tried to compel her through attorney voice to move the tree. She has a right to have it there. It's not something that we would necessarily want on our own homes, right? But it's her property. And so the neighbors should potentially join together civilly and compel her to do something because it does impact the ministries. It impacts several neighbors. I think I've talked to every neighbor adjacent to that particular property. There's just nothing that the township can do.
Does it not create a ordinance violation?
What ordinance? Having a tree on their roof? I mean, we don't have.
there's a hole there. It's taken down part of her
It-
chimney and
It's possible under a property maintenance code to do, that there could be something under property maintenance code, but in general, there's not, typically if a
This
tree
is
falls from
where
your.
people end up legislating stupidity. Because it's
Right.
like, all right, so do we now need to have an ordinance that says you're not allowed to have a tree on your house creating a hole in the roof? you know?
Well, yeah, I
My only
mean, that's,
concern is just safety, that's
Right,
all.
yeah.
That's all her house can rot away for all I care. I don't care, but it's a very large tree that,
Yeah.
and I don't know to the
Blight?
extent
What
that
about blight?
the ministries, if that's within a association boundaries, that the association does something.
right
It's
over there.
going there over their walkway.
Yeah, so I'm not so sure that maybe that's where some of the concerns should be expressed to the Gulick Ministries. And maybe if there's association bylaws, the private bylaws, but yeah, I mean, if a tree falls, if a neighbor's tree falls on your house, typically each party's gonna end up calling their insurance company and something will get worked out. So I don't know, why that has not happened.
Because she lives out of state and we have to go to court to mow her lawn
Well, and the
and take care of
tree-
her
well,
leaves,
is a
so,
challenge.
right.
Also, the person whose tree fell should be contacting their insurance carrier too.
They did.
Yeah, and so I don't know how that how that works out. But, there could be things that we can do down the road if it's determined to be like a dangerous, under the property maintenance code potentially. And I know that Bert Gale, our zoning administrator, was looking at that. But, primarily it's a private matter, but if there is something that we can, like if you said there's a hole in the roof or something like that, maybe that's a way that we can
Yeah.
pursue that.
It's taken off part of the chimney, and there are squirrels and raccoons going up the tree into the house, and
Yes, the
It's
problem
just-
is she sent a message that said,
Yeah, that's right.
am I allowed to say
Yeah, you
that?
can,
Oh, I
yeah.
thought you were shutting me
No,
up.
no, that's fine.
Don't
I
do
just-
anything
I
on my
forgot about
property.
that.
I am contesting your voice on my property. Don't do anything. I don't want any action taken on my property. And as a homeowner, don't we all want to have that voice to be able to say, it's mine, don't touch it? That's the right that she has, and that's what she's invoked, which when I sent that to legal, he said, well, what are we going to do?
What if it's a safety concern? That doesn't matter?
She's not there. Who's
Well, I'm just
who's,
saying if the tree falls to hit somebody driving by, she's liable, I'm assuming.
I would assume so as well.
or falls
Yeah.
further
Or
through the
or
house
the
and
property
hits the
owner whose
neighbor.
tree it is.
Right.
I mean, they're both, like the tree fell out of somebody's
People,
yard.
different property owner.
Correct. The neighbor's property now
And it's
sits on her
fallen over
property.
the church,
Correct.
So it's on three people's
Yeah,
property.
so I mean, those three people need to,
Work it out.
And
normally
you
that's
guys are
what will
working on it,
happen.
that's all you can do.
Yeah. is-
Yep. Yep.
Well, I appreciate your effort on it.
Well,
so-
sorry. I didn't
No
have
problem.
better news for you.
Thank you for telling me about the email. I already signed up.
Oh, good. Thank you. Good. I'm glad. Very good. Got one more. That's right. Next, public comment.
My name is Mark Rogers. I live on South Sherman Lake Drive. I had comments all prepared, and Attorney Thaw has completely upended everything I was going to say. So anyways, I'm going to be reading 3 quotes. You may have heard them before. They all send the same message. Sunshine is the best disinfectant. Trust happens when leaders are transparent. Secrecy is the enemy of any government that believes in democratic principles. The message is simple. Transparency builds trust, and secrecy undermines it. To be clear, I'm not suggesting that Ross leadership is being secretive or lacking in transparency. I simply believe a government can never be too transparent. If Ross wants to be uber transparent, you should, I said before document, now I will say augment your meetings with YouTube videos. YouTube has many advantages. YouTube does not rely on others to interpret what was said in a meeting. YouTube is accessible to anywhere, to anyone, anywhere with internet access. YouTube is smart technology that is free. I also believe it could be used to simplify the minutes. I mean, the minutes could have the bare bone essentials, and you could reference, there's a YouTube video. I've been in Florida, I've been out of state, I've really enjoyed YouTube, where I can go online and I can listen to the meeting. And then like 2 months, 3 months pass, I can go to the YouTube and I can refresh my memory. I can see exactly what was said. The city of Kalamazoo, I want to be respectful to the Ross board here, but I believe the city of Kalamazoo has more areas to manage under their purview, and as a result has greater exposure to litigation. They use YouTube. I think Ross can do that too. In closing, I believe YouTube is the right tool to augment meetings, and I urge you to adopt it without delay. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. There being no further comment, I'm closing public comment at 6:49 PM. Various committee reports.
I do have one this week. Because only once or twice a year we may have a PC meeting prior to the board meeting. Otherwise, you would see all the meeting minutes. Is this on? Yeah, okay. But on the planning commission meeting that we had last night, we talked about two things. One was the priority from the board on the landscaping and patios on the lake. And I believe that we've made good progress, and we are planning to take it up again June 9th because we have a special PC meeting due to somebody who needs a review. And then we also started talking about the potential rezoning for areas along 40th Street, and we have a good plan to get additional information before we approach any conversation or in decision making. And even if we did that, those are going to be public hearings, obviously, before we would bring it to the board. But at this point, I can say we're on schedule getting the patio landscaping to the board by the requested August-September meeting. And the other one is just, we'll take second place to make sure that we don't, not get that first one to the board
Yeah.
in right order. So that was my report.
Good update. Thank you. Thank you.
We have a fire board meeting on Thursday of this week, the 22nd of May, at 6 PM at this location.
Thank you. Anyone on the left side?
I have 2 Arbor Credit Union CDs that have matured, and I have placed them with First National Bank up in Michigan, getting a 0.25% higher rate than I had at Arbor, so.
Nice.
No, we
What's the new?
moved them around.
What are the new rates?
Let's see, like 0.25% higher, so they were offering 4, I got 4.25.
Still pretty good. Still pretty good.
Fantastic report.
I know it's in the consent agenda, but $108,000 in the last fiscal year for interest income. Awesome.
Outstanding.
I have some actual numbers here, an 85.9% increase in general fund interest, 124% increase in fire fund interest, 17.4% in road fund, and 8.44% in tax fund interest. So,
That's prior fiscal year to last fiscal year.
correct.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Outstanding, Amanda.
And we expect like results for this year? No.
It's a double-edged sword
Right, you gotta
because
watch that.
personally we'd like to see rates come down, but take advantage of what we can.
We have lofty goals. I mean, we're talking cemeteries, we're talking tree removal, fence improvements. We have big
We just need a
lists.
tornado to hit at the right spot and take care of the trees for us.
I was gonna say, I don't know. Have you been to Sherman Lake? It looks pretty bad. We have our fire chief here. He's awful quiet. Yeah.
So we met with Life Care. We put our, what we wanted, they put what they were gonna try to do. So we have come to a, pretty much a middle ground there. They have upgraded or replaced any outdated material that we had on the trucks. There are a couple things there. The AED pads, I think, are still coming. So we have pretty much got everything together as far as what we want, what they can provide. So I guess then we'll see. We haven't set up a next meeting. Yeah, so, because Brian wants to do a monthly meeting for the first 6 months, and after the 6 months, then if things continue, then quarterly meetings after that. So we haven't got any farther than that as of right now, so we haven't set up the next meeting. Month of April, we were just about the same as far as runs. We assisted mostly assisted other departments, Galesburg and Richland, for house fires. So not really much of anything else. This month has been busy, so, and we got meeting here in a little bit, but, so I don't have, that's about it for right now, so, but we've been working with Life Care though, so.
I have a couple of questions, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I know that on May 6th, Amanda wrote about, what is it, Sourcewell Consortium to help, how do you want to say it, purchase the new fire truck, right? And I'm under the impression that the fire department will identify what they want on the fire truck, and that the, like the city of Richland went with Sourcewell Consortium for a lot of advantages. But there's a number of emails that came afterwards, and I was wondering, because they came from your command staff, were you involved in these emails?
Did you see any replies from me?
I did not.
No.
No, that's why I had to ask.
So
because-
I did do some talking with the people in Richland.
Mhm.
They did use that Sourcewell. Are they going to use much of Sourcewell? Not really.
Mhm.
They did have them come in. They give a list of anything that can be put on a truck. You still have to pick, which is what we're doing right now. I mean,
Right.
so basically, I mean, there might be some stuff that it might be, if we looked at their list, it might be. I mean, we spend a lot of time trying to, and we have tried to get as many vendors as possible. I mean, it was kind of insinuated that we weren't really, we were just gonna go buy a truck. I mean, and that's kind of what that's kind of what it made it sound like, so it kind of
Well, I don't know.
upset all of our guys.
I
can
don't know
tell you
about that insinuation, but when I read the emails, like, for instance, which is the one that one said they don't see the benefit of using an outside company, as I'm sure there's added fees. There's been very little study because it's a government agency and it's no cost. All right.
Yeah,
so I mean,
I understand that part of it, which
Right, but I mean,
didn't.
but these
I've
are-
never heard of this Sourcewell, so
Well,
until
but
that came up.
we talk about communication at the last meeting, right? And I'm just saying it'd be a good idea to put the study out before you, or not say you or the command staff, throw out those type of allegations. So for instance, I have another part where it says that for some reason the chief or the assistant chief doesn't want to talk to the board here to tell us about their experience with Sourcewell. And it says they might add, they feel that politics get drug into things that don't need it, and I'm quoting this.
I think that was the
Can you add-
Richland.
can
the
you add-
Richland-
can
that
you
was
add
the
color
Richland-
on that?
That was the Richland chief, I think. I think Patrick didn't want to come up here, and just because I didn't talk to him about it, and it was one of those that I was looking at the emails, but I wasn't kind of going back and forth. I mean, Sourcewell can come in, and I don't have a problem with that, but it did kind of, I mean, my guys did kind of get the feeling that all the time that we had spent on doing this might have just got thrown out, and we might have just handed it to somebody else to purchase our next truck.
Yeah, and see, that's where communication, I think, is poor, because I think Amanda, and you can correct me if I misinterpreted, that here's a process that is complete. The fire department still says, what is it that we need? And then we have an opportunity to go out and get many quotes where you may only get 2 or 3. I mean, again, there's a lot of fire truck manufacturers out there. We may have a favorite, but the idea is when we're looking at between $750,000 and $1 million, I think it's important that once you identify what you need on that truck and what you want on that truck, that if we have an expert option to go out and source that and try to save, whether it's 30, 50, 70,000, or maybe tell us there's nothing out there we can do other than with one vendor, that we should explore that with an open mind and not, from what I'm reading, a very closed mind. So I just share that.
Yeah, well,
because-
and that's, I mean, I don't have a problem having, I mean, like I said, I've never, until that came up in that from Amanda, I'd never heard of Sourcewell. So
well, I don't think we have either.
So, I mean, and I didn't know, and I, like I said, in discussing, because I did discuss it with the chief in Richland, and he basically said, yeah, they came in. Are we gonna probably use any of their information? Probably not.
So let me ask this.
So, I mean,
We wanted the presentation to see it, from
and
the board perspective.
I don't
Can
know
you
if-
get that for us?
I can see if I can. I don't, I mean, it's through the MTA or something, I think, with the Michigan.
I have no idea.
So-
All I know is it was talked about at the supervisors meeting, and it was raved about because all the supervisors are under the same pressure that we are, trying to figure out how we're going to spend $250,000 to $1 million. So everybody is sharing information, and it's unfortunate that when we ask to share the information, we get an email that says it won't be shared with our board. It will only go to your fire department because of politics. It's not our politics. So I don't know where the politics are coming from. We're asking to share
I don't-
information.
I-
But that was an email from your fire team.
Right, but I did not talk to, the only one I've talked to is Jerry, the chief up there. I haven't talked to the deputy chief. I haven't talked to anybody else. Like I said, and what Jerry said is Sourcewell did come in, but then you have to go through everything that they have, then you still have to go through and pick what you want, which is kind of what we're doing now. I mean, other than Sourcewell has, I mean, they can pull a million things off, which we don't have the capability of doing. So, I mean,
Well, they can help with the RFP. So as you identify the things, they can put that together for you. And then when we're ready to execute, or when they are ready to execute, then they will go out and give you options for sourcing. And there's no obligation, there's no cost.
and I can see if I can, whoever, I don't have the slightest idea of who it is. I can see what the vendor or the guy from Sourcewell, and have him come to the meeting. I don't really care. That doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing was it did make my guys mad because all the time, and we've already spent about 6 months or longer on trying to do this truck, and we've tried to have as many vendors as possible, and it's kind of like Richland. They sent out 4 or 5, 6, and got 2 or 3.
Right.
Is all they've got come back for that responded in the time that they wanted or didn't even respond. I mean, so.
Okay.
But
And when we're ready to put that out, whether it's with Sourcewell or not, you're on board with the purchasing policy that Mary put out to all of us, where we want the sealed bids. And then I think the purchasing policy, who opens those bids? Is that the fire board?
I believe since the fire board is the head of the fire department, it would go to them, and they would be open those bids up. And when
Okay.
you're looking for a presentation, are you looking for a presentation from our fire department?
No.
I'm looking for a presentation that they gave to Richland, because
From
according to the
Sourcewell.
information, the Sourcewell.
From Sourcewell,
Yeah.
okay.
And
I wanted
again, I would assume we could FOIA it, but I'd rather do it with cooperation.
The Richland Fire Department or the Richland Township?
Whoever. I know that, like I said, I think you can get it FOIA, but everybody is making comments and decisions without any knowledge of it. We talk about good communication, right? This is terrible communication. This is allowing people's feelings to now try to say what's best for the township. And I don't think it's really called for in this position when we are going to be spending $750,000 to $1 million. I think we all have to be on board to let's get the information, let's reach consensus on what we want to do. And so I'm just asking Doug at this point that if we even get 3 bids in, and what is it, Danny, that the fire board would open those bids along with the fire command?
Yeah, this should go through the fire board. Yes.
Okay. And I just want to know, Doug, are you on board with that?
I can see if I can get Sourcewell. That's fine with me. I don't have a problem. I mean, anything to make it easier for us, if that's going to help us. I mean, all I did was I did discuss it with the Richland, and they basically said they came in, they got some information that was okay.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of information that they basically could have done on their own without.
Right,
So, I mean,
and-
it's just I mean,
I understand.
Yeah.
I really do. And until we see what they presented, we don't know what they did and what they didn't do, because there is a full process with Sourcewell that if we only come in at the end, it may not be as robust as we would want. But before we put that out in writing that this thing doesn't work and it's not how we do it and we won't ever do it again and whatever, we just don't have the information. And I'm looking for you to help.
I don't have a problem with it. That's fine. And as far, that's why I did not respond on the emails. I looked at them. I mean,
Okay.
I mean, so.
I just need to know where the chief stands. All right, that's all I really needed to say about that. Thank you.
So as far as that though, since how the fire board is my boss, is those purchasing policies still the same for the fire board as it is the township? How does that work? That's one thing I just was curious.
Yeah, I
on.
don't know what the fire board's purchasing policies are, but they should have a purchasing policy. Yeah, well, I mean, there might not be one, but I'm just saying there should be.
I mean, we have it reflected in the minutes, the max purchase that can be allowed before fire board approval.
Right,
So
yeah.
that's really
No, I was
all
just curious though.
that we
I mean,
have,
because so they're actually
as
my
far as I'm
boss.
aware of.
Christina is kind of oversees them, but that's who, I'm responding to these people here. So I was just wondering if all the policies still, and the thing is too, is as far as like that policy that was made in August, that's the first I'd ever heard about it, was just in that, so that's 8 months, 10 months?
What policy are you talking about?
The purchasing policy, yeah. It
Township
got
Since they're
approved
using
in
our tax
August,
ID
but
number,
this was the first I'd ever heard of it. So, I
They
mean,
fall
Township one, you
under-
mean?
yes, so,
But do you know
So-
if the fire department has, or, I don't
I
think
don't,
there's one.
So we're all under the same tax ID. So what I was told was there is only one purchasing policy because we're all under the same tax ID.
And at the end of the day, it's.
And I don't supervise the fire board, this board as a whole.
well, right, I mean, it goes through, but.
I know, but you said Christina does.
Well,
Christina does not.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, this board has to approve the purchase of a fire truck or whatever it is, in this
Both
case, a fire
boards.
truck.
Village.
So that, so for this board to do it, it would make sense that it has to be in compliance with our purchasing policy. Now, what happens if we have drastically different purchasing policies? I guess it would have to meet the higher of the two if they're.
I really have to go back over our agreement, the intergovernmental agreement, to determine what the exact power of the fire board is in that regard. Because typically, when you establish a fire board, yes, it is under our township tax, because we operate the fire department. For all practical purposes, Ross Township does operate the fire department. But it is set up under this other entity to administer the department. And they decide in almost all cases, how funds are expended by the fire department. They submit vouchers then to the township saying this is approved by the fire board. Township, we pay those expenses. So like, we don't generally approve the expenses of the fire department. Those should be being approved by the fire board.
No, but we approve the purchase of a fire truck.
Well, sometimes if we need any kind of financing, that's going to definitely has to go through the township board and would require our approval.
Well, I know since I've been here,
Oh,
we
I know
bought,
too,
but-
yeah.
and it came in and it was a motion to approve the expenditure, so.
That's, I mean, that's the way it's functioned in the
Yeah.
past.
So
Agreed.
function versus the
Exactly.
agreement, I get it, but. I
I don't know that that's wrong. It just,
Yeah.
I would have to look and see for sure.
I would just add on, and Trustee Beeks, I appreciate you bringing this up. This board has nothing but respect for our fire department, and we have supported it. The residents support our fire department. And I think it's important that if there's an opportunity to do something a different way than what we've done, and maybe we do it and we discover, you know what, there are no savings, but maybe we do it and discover that we're going to save $50,000 or $100,000. I would hope that everybody would embrace that, because that's our taxpayer. It's not your money, it's not our money, it's our taxpayer money. We are obligated to do our fiduciary responsibility to manage it, and that additional money that maybe we could save, maybe not, we won't know till we do it, is money that can then go to buy other stuff that our fire department needs, like those breathing things that they've been talking about. So I would just like to see, bring the
Well,
temperature
I'll-
down, know we
I'll-
have ultimate
I'll-
respect, and
I'll see if I can get a hold of whoever the source well is. And as far as spending money, I hate spending money. So, any money I can save.
You didn't during the ARPA days.
Oh, I didn't get all my ARPA money that I was supposed to get, remember? No. But no, I mean, I'll see if, I don't know who it was. I don't know who the guy was or who it was that came in. I'll see if I can get them and see if they can be at the next meeting, I guess. If that's what you want, or if you want to, you don't want to do a special meeting, so to have him come in and do a.
Come to the fire board, or should they come here?
I think fire board, and then we can be invited, right?
Pardon me?
They could come to the fire board and then you could have a joint meeting, essentially.
or go to the fire board, and then at the next meeting, you can give us an update, maybe a copy of the presentation or a summary of it.
I like it.
I don't
that
think,
better, too.
I doubt that I can get them here on Thursday.
No, we
'cause
can't,
we're
we have
also-
a full house for Thursday,
Yeah,
or a
but,
full agenda already.
So, another 3 or 4 months, 6 months.
And I think we're all, representing the fire board, we're all trying to meet the same goals. We aren't trying to fight against each other. We all have the same obligation for the citizens and for
No,
what
and
we're all
I mean,
doing.
and that's, I mean, like I said, I don't like spending money if I don't think we have to
Right,
spend money.
no, but I
so,
don't, I mean, on anything.
So,
We're
I
trying-
mean, so
we're
it's
supposed
not
to be
like
working
I'm,
together.
I mean,
Right.
that we're just going out there and we're gonna buy this fire truck. I mean, like I said, we've already been doing quite a bit of work,
Right,
legwork on
we
it.
realize
I
that.
mean, but it did make my guys feel like all the work that we
I know Amanda
spent.
went to a meeting and, that's where the information, some of the information came. And so she was just trying to say that, we aren't doing some things correctly, and she kind of got chewed out, I feel.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I got chewed out. I mean, the fact of the matter is, at that thing, I mean, they talked about CIPs and having a plan for purchasing, and I
Right.
heard nothing at any of our fire board meetings about, having those things in place to make job
Right.
purchases, so. But we did on a old fire truck purchase or not, I mean, I don't know, I wasn't here, so I don't,
Right.
like,
And
I'm just trying to cover
And I'm
ourselves as far
yeah,
as.
right, and I'm not in
Yeah.
charge of the fire board, so I'm just the fire chief. The fire board should be, if that's the case, should be making those decisions on what's supposed to be done. So, I mean,
Correct.
and we'll abide by whatever. I mean, that's not a problem. So,
But we're
but,
gonna talk about that Thursday night,
No.
so hopefully your staff will come.
I think I'll find out who they should be here. So,
I mean, they've been notified, and it's for
Yeah,
everybody, not
right.
just closed.
right, yeah. So at any rate, I'll see if I can get a hold whoever it is. I don't know. I don't
Because
know
that's
the
where
name.
we've had some contention is, that, that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, and you're doing what you're not supposed to be doing. Wait a minute. So that's why we asked Rob Thal to come and say, legally what we can do, what we're supposed to do, and what we're, whose responsibility is what.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
And that's
I mean,
Thursday night?
That's Thursday.
Yeah, okay.
So, but, so I don't, if you've got anything else for me or not, do you want to have?
Yeah, one more thing. Keep doing a great job.
Right.
Yeah. Do you want to have Lori talk from Life Care? She's here, so.
Update.
Lori Phillips from Life Care Ambulance. Thank you for having me. We've been working with Chief and command staff with the issues that came up, and we've actually learned a lot of good things. So some things that we took for granted that we thought were happening, found out that they weren't, so trying to improve on those. One of the biggest issues there was our crews weren't calling en route with 911, so they did not know if we were coming, where we were coming from, how long it was going to take, and things like that. And then there were times that they would get unseen and we'd already transported. Obviously, we don't want that to happen. We want good use of the resources. So we've been able to add to our CAD a reminder to the crews to call en route with Kalamazoo Central, with the location that they're responding from, whether they're responding emergent or not. And that way, if they leave before the fire department gets there, they will call and let them know that they're transporting, so they can cancel, or we can cancel them, so they're not wasting their time. So hopefully that will help with that. And if there's any issues, they know that they can contact us to see, or to ask about a certain situation, and we can look into it and give them feedback. The other thing is the equipment. We went through an equipment list, things that we can provide for them, like their AED pads and the special BVMs that they use for Kalamazoo County. So we will be providing those when they use them. The other thing we're doing is trying to help minimize waste by hopefully eliminating, but at least minimizing those disposable items that go out or that expire. So Mitch Dickert, I'm sure many of you know who Mitch is. He's been out here for years. We've elevated him to a team leader position, and he'll be the liaison that's going to be here that'll be working with Doug and the crew and working on a 6-month rotation. So if they have equipment or supplies that are expiring within 6 months, they'll exchange it with us because we have a likelihood of using it probably before it goes out of expiration, at least probably more of a chance than the fire department has. And then you guys will have fresh supplies and equipment that hopefully won't go out of date. So those are the two major things that we've been working on, along with some of the other communication ideas and factors that we're playing into some of the issues that got brought up. So it's been a great opportunity, or I think it's been a great opportunity. So we will give you more reports every month.
I got a question. I happen to live down by the point, and it seemed like, I know there's legitimate reasons why the ambulance has to be stationed down there, but it seems like it's down there a lot. And so I don't know if there's something happening with staffing that's pushing you down there more as opposed to being based out of here.
A lot of it's call volume. Like, we haven't had anybody out here the last 2 days, but it's because we've had a lot of sick calls. There's a lot of illnesses going around, and unfortunately it's affected us. So staffing has been the major reason for that. But a lot of it is system status and seeing where our units need to be placed depending on the time of day and what our call volume is. So if the truck's being pulled down there, it's because there's a higher call volume happening at that time.
Is there any way to measure that as to what % of the time that when they're not on a call that they're based there versus here?
Actually, that is something we're working on after we met, last month. I did not have a report that actually showed me, it's called a post, how many times we're posted at a certain location or how often one particular truck's at a certain post. But our report guy is working on that, so we can try to get that information and we can report it to you.
Thank you.
At our last board meeting, we talked about looking at these two documents that, Doug and his group were going to work on, and then the document you were going to work on. And one of the largest issues was just lack of communication. So when I read through these sheets, I really didn't see that addressed. I mean, you share with me, Mitch is going to now be a team leader, and he's going to probably be around more to talk directly with our other group. But what are we going to do that's going to actually improve communication if that was identified as the biggest issue over the last several years? Because there's nothing specific. Because to me, improving communication isn't quarterly reports. It isn't monthly reports. To me, I would think we would want daily reports. And from a daily report perspective, and I know we have HIPAA rules, so we can't say who did we call on and what was their problem and what, et cetera. But again, we talk about departure locations, like Lynn said, response times, which, it's easy to measure. We got, the ambulance ID, so we can identify which one is kind of more active in our area. If they arrive, are they first on scene, or did our EMTs beat them there? That would be, to me, some good information. Was it a priority, and was sirens and lights used or not? It says here that yes, it's identified, but it doesn't really say how it's going to be tracked and reported back. And I have other things that, from what the fire department gave to us, as far as, asking for additional information. Because for us as a board, if we are going to move forward with a 6-month window so that we can really assess the improvement, I don't really see a whole lot that's measurable here. That's all what I'm saying. And so when we get down to the next 6 months, we'll probably, if we only get quarterly reports, we'll have lost the opportunity to communicate to our township citizens what's happening, what we're looking at, why we're looking at it. Here's the improvement. Here's where there's no improvement, because again, we have a big choice to make, and so I just wanted to share that. I did not see a lot of meat on the bone on these reports. It just looked to me like it's just standard things that we put together. It looks good, but it really doesn't zero in on what it is we're really trying to improve and how are we going to measure it and how are we going to put that information out there to say that, yes, we are seeing improvement or no, we're not. So I share that. And this is information I was going to bring up at our agenda item, for the ambulance review. But with Doug and her here, I thought we just state that at this time. So,
Well, I would definitely take the opportunity to meet with you and decide what types of information you want and how often. And that way we can make sure that we're giving you what you need.
I think what's important to me is that we're super transparent. We have a resident here that talked about transparency, and in government we need to be uber transparent. As you are aware, the Life Care contract says that it will be 24/7 posted here, and we have not had that in years. 2 supervisors ago, because we have the notes that has not. And we have an individual here from Berry County who thinks that is happening. And so it puts this board in a tough spot to be able to look at our constituents and say, we need to make a decision, when the decision is that Life Care Ambulance is supposed to honor the contract, because it's set in there for almost 20 years that they will be housed here on this campus 24/7, 365. And that's not happening.
So with the posted report, that's something that we could be able to.
We have to have that information, right? And so, we all drive past the point. We know that shift changes happen here, and then they jump in the ambulance and they're not here.
I can make that happen. So you have that information.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely, yes. I mean, the reports for the most part can be monthly, they can be weekly, some of it can be daily. The call volume, you may not have a call every day, so that wouldn't be there, but yeah, we can work out whatever information that you want.
I think anything for the board monthly would be fine. I think it's what the, fire department wants, the kind of communication, make sure that they're getting what they need.
yeah, and as far as a monthly report, I'd like to see what the fire group has sensed as an improvement in communications, and how can that be measured, right? Because again, that was the reason that
And I think,
that was brought
no,
up.
it's a good point. I think it's, when the fire department says lack of communication, what is that? So we talked about they're gonna call in that they're en route, which I thought that would have been standard protocol, but great, they're gonna do it going forward. So that, and then if they've already transported, that's gonna. So is that what was referred to? And so that can be, I don't know if that can be measured through central dispatch that they're doing that, or if there's other things that come to mind specific so we can measure it.
Right, and that's what we're supposed to get with these 2 reports,
Yeah.
and it's not there. And so until it's there, I don't know if I would be ready to make a decision on a 6-month deal, but, so maybe spend another month and take a
Yeah, I
look
look at it, the 6 months is kind of like a probationary period, and I'm not willing personally to sign any agreement or contract yet till we get our feet in the water a little bit deeper. Because I've talked to a lot of residents that have used services, and I get bad reports and I get good reports. They aren't all bad, but there are some.
Thank you.
Police chief.
Good evening, folks, again. Nothing major on the police front, except my schedule is going into what I call flex mode. And it changes based on what's happening in the township during the summer. For example, Thursdays, I'll be working more towards the night end because we've got motorcycle night up at the dock, and that generates a large crowd when the weather's good. So I will be flexing my schedule to meet the demands of the township here. We've already conducted our first, I don't know if I want to call it a runaway recovery, but we had a boat escape during the storm and ended up across the lake, and we were able to go out there with our boat and lasso it as it was floating around out there and get it home safe to the owner, who did not know it was gone. But we've done our first water recovery so far this year and got that runaway boat home safe. And, we're looking forward to a safe Memorial Day weekend. I will be here the whole weekend. So hopefully everybody, the weather will cooperate, and hopefully the people will cooperate. So that's all I have. Unless you
Question on
have,
the sign that you had out in front, half of the time the thing wasn't working when you went by it.
Speed limit.
Pardon me?
It's because you were going the speed limit.
No.
You weren't.
Oh,
going-
you were going the speed limit? Oh.
Tried it both ways to see because it didn't even give
and
anything.
We're getting hold of the company on that because I literally would get a call from you that said it didn't happen, and I would drive down and it would
And it did.
register me.
I thought, what
It's like a
happened?
mechanic. He never does it. When,
Yeah.
when I take my vehicle to Doug, it's making this terrible noise.
It won't do it.
It's purring like a kitten. What's your problem? So there is something,
Yeah, there's something.
off with them. But we are going to work with the company to troubleshoot that and fine tune it so it's out there working 100%. But, with every piece of equipment, we've had it 3 years now, some maintenance time due for it there. So we'll get that expedited as fast as we can and back out there.
Because I know there's some in Battle Creek, and they'll tell you, no matter what speed you're going, what speed you're going.
Yeah. So we just have some troubleshooting maintenance we need to do on them. Because they're, like I said, 3 years old now.
Is Augusta still using one or not?
No.
Okay. So all that hoopla on.
So-
Chief, is there, especially during the summer and the weather's nicer and you're spending more time, on the lake where the challenges are, is there an opportunity to, with both Richland and Augusta to say, hey, you can come outside your jurisdiction. So like,
We have that now.
Okay.
Richland quite often will come out here, and do some radar enforcement when they feel the need for speed, because, their district is 30 miles an hour
Right,
throughout,
Because I know would Augusta come out Augusta Drive further out for speed?
No, they will not come out.
But they could if they wanted to. Is that
No, they could not.
Oh, they could
do
not.
this.
Okay.
They could not. It's a jurisdictional issue.
Is that
there.
something? Is that something we could authorize them to do that if we wanted to do that?
You could reach an interlocal agreement.
Yeah. Yep. So, with that, that was an issue we could talk about at another time there, but they currently don't have.
Okay. Yep. All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you,
Appreciate it.
folks.
We have road commission here. Is he gonna talk? I'm waiting for you. Are you gonna talk? What are you gonna do? Sit in the dark? Okay.
You know me, I'm a quiet one.
What you got other than a bunch of trees out here? Did you come down 37th?
No, I did not, but
Are you gonna go that
I
way?
will go back that way.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So at our board meeting today, we had a board meeting. I'm Randy Thompson, obviously your liaison for the road commission. We talked about it today, and over this last weather issue, the road commission was clearing over 400 different trees that have fallen, and obviously we're handling
Yeah.
all 15 townships. So guys were working around the clock to do this. So we have people, which we've had some upset people, but bear with us, they're doing everything they can. And of course, it's busy construction season has started, so when we're doing trees, we're not doing construction. So somebody's gonna be mad no matter which way you go. But this last storm, and we still have trees. In fact, when I was going to our road commission meeting tonight, just before I turned onto 26th Street off of ML Avenue, a tree fell in the middle of the road. So fortunately, we got somebody out there to clear that right away. But they have been working diligently, and I know you sent that email about 37th,
Yep.
and I will check that on my
It's
way
an
back.
apocalypse. We have a trustee that also lives on 37th. It's really bad. So I want to give a message to you, and I want you to take it back to the road commission. Yorkshire was treed in. We couldn't get out because of that big tree right there on 37th, and we snapped that pole and tore up the Xfinity Comcast box. I mean, it just looked like a bomb went off. Kudos to getting out there and chopping up the tree so we could get out. We couldn't even get ambulance service in if needed it. So it was a dire situation. You guys responded right away. We had Foxwood neighborhood had the last storm. I mean, I had individuals calling me, and you guys went out that next morning. And so I'm disappointed that people are upset with you. You've done a great job here in Ross Township. You've been very responsive, and thank you.
Well, thank you. I will pass that on to the
Please
board.
do.
And like I said, we're doing everything we can to keep the crews working on this stuff. And when you're covering 15 townships and you have, like everybody, limited personnel,
Right.
It takes time. And the other thing people have to keep in mind, when a tree goes down, if it's in power lines, we can't touch it
Right.
until consumers gets
Yep.
out there. And you know how
That's what Mark said.
long that
Yep.
takes
Yep.
sometimes.
Yep.
So, because we don't want anybody injured. Also, I'm on a fire department too, so we run into the same thing, that we go out and tape things off. We can't touch it if it's in power lines.
Right.
You know, and there are, I'm sure Doug has done this, but sometimes we do try to clear a tree out of the road with the fire department. But most of these that have gone down have been in lines.
Yeah. You did a great job out here.
Good.
Thank you.
And
I see
feel-
that some of the roads that you're gonna chip seal have been worked along the edges already.
Yep.
Can you please make sure that on a lot of these corners, there's great big potholes, not just on those streets, but, see, we live on C, but all the side roads, of course, are ones that we help, pave. But they're a mess and they're dangerous. But I did see you did get the big potholes. Because remember, we got one not too far from our house. And the people that live there know about it, but they go fast on that street.
Yeah, well, and again, feel free, probably most of you know, put in a service request, go to our website, put in a service request, and, everything, they get to it as quick as
Right.
possible. And I'll be the first one to admit, I wish we could do things faster, but,
Well,
again, you have limited personnel, limited equipment, and we're doing everything we can to get everything as timely as possible.
Is that the best way to go about it, is to go on the website for a service?
You go on the website, and you can still call too. I mean, you can call down there, but up in the upper right-hand corner of the County Road Commission website, it says service request. You click on that, and there's a bunch of information, filling out who you are, where the problem is, what the problem is, and that goes automatically into our computer, and they look at those things. And I can't tell you the time to get to it, that it would take them to get to it, but we get hundreds of service requests.
Is there a response that it's being received and addressed? I mean, if I put it in and then I don't hear back from anybody, or would I hear back from somebody, or?
You probably wouldn't hear back from somebody, but it does keep updates on it. If they're working on that project, or if the project's been completed, that does show up on that.
Part of the reason I ask is because Thursday morning it was Thursday, I believe, right? That's when the storm hit?
Yep.
okay, so Friday morning I went to go to work. It's, you know, a little before 7 in the morning, and 37th was blocked both ways. So I thought I'll try Greer. There's 50 trees down in Greer. So I went back home and I called just to let the road commission know, hey, we got trees down all over here. Nobody can get in or out. It rang. I got a message service. I never heard back from anybody. So I didn't know if I went about it the wrong way, what the best way to do that was.
And I would always suggest if you can do both, do both. But that'll be right on line.
Didn't have internet service out here.
Well,
Yeah.
I was going to bring this up next. That was another thing. We lost phone service at
Right.
the road commission also.
So did 911.
Everybody
911
did.
yeah, oh, believe
Yep.
me, how well we know. And that's the other thing, call 911 and everything for our road commission too, under something like this, goes through, we're hooked up to the 911 system. So when something is called into them, then they put that right out right away to whoever the supervisor on duty is at that time. So there is multiple ways, and I'm just gonna say the squeaky wheel gets the oil first, so
Right.
the more you call, the more places you put it in. Under a storm like this, they're doing everything as fast as they can,
Right.
period.
Right.
But we want the roads opened up as fast for anybody, for fire service, for police service, for citizens to be happy with what's going on.
Thank you.
So, and feel free to call me anytime. You know how to get a hold of me.
Do you have business cards you could leave? Because maybe Trustee White would like one. Or?
They don't give us, but I will tell you, and I will do this. I was supervisor before. I will give you my personal cell phone number. Feel free to call me.
All right. I have it. Want me
Christine
to share
has
it?
She can share it with you.
Okay.
But
I'll
I
share it.
asked, an emergency thing's fine. I don't want to get calls all the time.
Right. Right.
So you
Right.
know how that is.
Believe me. I know.
Probably ask you about G Avenue and M96.
That is actually, we're doing some work on that right now, even though that's MDOT.
Yeah.
Travis, I give Travis credit. He finally got MDOT together to start looking at some things there. But we are doing some improvements there that Travis took on ourselves that we necessarily didn't have to do, but trying to help with safety for that corner. Because everything coming up that is still got to be, even though G Avenue is a county road, where it goes into there, it's MDOT controlled.
Yep.
So,
Any updates on when we're going to get funding from the state?
Nope.
Mom's the word, huh? Okay.
Still nothing yet.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
No, it's over and above par.
Over and above, yeah. Yep.
Additional funding.
I think that's all still up in Lansing.
Thank you. Right. Thank you.
All
I
right.
appreciate you.
Thank you.
Moving forward through old business, we already had our updates, already talked about ambulance services, new business. So I like what Attorney Thal said. So I think, do we need to have a policy driven on how we're going to keep minutes up and then just shave off the minutes so they're just the facts, nothing but the facts?
So the minutes are under the authority of the clerk. So, that's going to be her decision, kind of how to prepare them with the YouTube or whatever you use, if you do go that route. I would still suggest they can be basic, but they should still have some content in case, something happens to the videos or whatever. You
So in your-
still have to have those as your official minutes.
So in your comment earlier, so let we go down the path, we got the YouTube up, and we've got the official minutes. We end up in court over a lawsuit, and so we come in with our minutes as the official document. Somebody else comes in with YouTube saying, here's what it is. I gotta believe they're gonna say, if there is a contradiction, that the video is gonna.
Sometimes it will come up, but, typically we're gonna go in with our minutes.
Well,
and then
we would have looked
if
at the
other-
video
Yeah,
too.
and
Yeah.
if the other side, to a suit, or if we want to bring in the video.
Right.
We can bring in the video. So it's just another,
So I just think it's important that we need to just be aware that just because the minutes are the official one, the video would be
Yeah.
out there.
that's true. The video could be
I-
used in,
I mean, I think we've come a long way with the technology. I know we got to talk about the internet, but unless it becomes a cost thing, I would think we'd put them out there, archive them. Maybe we set a limit that we're not gonna, if it becomes cost prohibitive, that we're gonna keep a year's worth out there. I mean, I don't know. Mark might want to refresh his memory, but I'm not sure he's gonna go back and watch them over and over again after a year. But I don't. But we don't need to cross that bridge until we understand what the cost is to keep them out there.
Right, right. No, I think for purposes of just doing one or the other, which is the way we've been doing it very conservatively, I'm totally fine with doing both. I mean, and then Mary, you don't have to spend as much time doing 6 pages of minutes if you choose to pare down.
Well, I'm all for keeping the video.
You are?
No matter what.
Okay.
Because I think it is more transparent to the people in the,
So we need a motion to.
Well, let's talk about that because I would be concerned about paring down the meeting minutes. Because like I say, you always have cyber terrorists, if everything's gone and we have very little to work with, and then we don't. But on a paper copy, in our safe, fireproof, in our vault, I would still think you would want to have a robust set of meeting minutes.
I agree. I think the minutes still need to reflect what happened. But to Rob's point, that's Mary's call. There's the statutory requirements that she has to do. Anything above and beyond that, we can advise that we think they need to be robust, but she gets to
It's
make
her choice.
It's her choice on what she does.
yeah, your only opportunity to do anything with the minutes is when you approve them.
Yeah,
So if
right.
you wanted to add a whole bunch of stuff, you could make a motion to add a whole bunch of stuff to them, or, but that's the board's opportunity is when you approve the minutes. But otherwise, the minutes are going to be put together, as Mary chooses within the confines of what's required.
But
Keeping the videos in posterity, I mean, we have thumb drives already in the vault, so, I mean, we could keep the thumb drives for 100 years. So, I mean, it's not like we would lose the
And then
data.
going forward, if somebody wants to know what happened at the meeting, just give them a link to watch the meeting.
or they could come in and we could provide them with a laptop and they could sit in the,
They can sit right here. This is all internet.
oh,
can
okay,
sit
they
right
could
here.
just put it, but
That
I'm
thing
just
goes
saying
with-
if
I don't-
if you had to use the thumb drive, we could even put the thumb drive in there and they could.
Yeah, yeah.
Do we have, I don't know, does our library have a computer in it? Does Augusta, I mean, they could go to the library if they don't have computer access, but, so I
We
mean, I
have a
think at this
YouTube
point.
page, and until they tell us that we're putting too much on it, I would say we just keep it there.
Right.
And then people just go there and watch
And
it.
then at some point, if we have to, we make a decision that we're gonna keep 1 year or 2 year.
We've been talking
archive the
to
rest.
IT about it,
Yeah.
about what we can do. He mentioned that we could keep them on our server and just keep them there, and he didn't say for how long. And we talked about putting them on thumb drives too, so.
All right, so I move that we maintain the videos on server, whatever it is, so they're visible on YouTube, which is where they're at right now.
So here's my worry. I don't want to interrupt you. I like where we're going with this because then people can sit and watch, and I think you get so much more out of watching than just reading minutes. So I like where we're going with this. How are we, if we move forward and decide to do this, and then we have a technical difficulty like tonight, and none of the 5 o'clock, just so everybody knows, none of the 5 o'clock is recorded because of our ongoing internet issues. So how do we get our arms around that? Are we going to have people upset with us?
So what I would suggest is that we actually have a policy. So to our next board meeting, I could bring a policy about how it would work, and it would have disclaimer of that sort. It's not, it's not something that is necessarily relied upon. It's a convenience that the township
Right. All right, so I'll modify my motion that we are directing Attorney Thal to bring a policy to the next meeting, so we can vote on it.
Yep. Okay, we have a motion and support that Attorney Thal is going to bring us a YouTube policy with a disclaimer that we're going to post our videos, and it will be up to the clerk, per her discretion, on what her minutes look like.
Could we maybe include in that policy, because even if the video doesn't work, we always have been getting audio. Just do audio alone, you know, if the video
Oh,
capability. Yeah,
Oh.
you know what I mean, that we could provide audio regardless.
A lot of times you're going, yeah, I mean, that, you can do that, sure. I mean, a lot of times the audio she uses to do her minutes, then deletes it, but, yeah.
You
I
have
mean, that-
audio for the 5 o'clock. Brilliant. So that will be posted.
I mean, is audio alone uploadable to YouTube? Like in
At least on at least on our website.
I would say on our website, for sure, we can have our IT
We could take a
people
picture
capture
of
that.
us and have it posted with the audio play, you know, behind it.
So Lynn, would you amend your motion one more time to just say that we're not going to delete anything until we get this pretty much
Yes.
set? Okay. So there'll be no more deletion until we get our policy in place?
Yep.
Both audio, video together? All right. And I still second that if you amend that. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
So were we going to talk about TDS versus Comcast?
I'm talking with TDS. There's a couple things that they can offer to us that will probably fix the situation, and it should still be less than.
I think we need to evaluate it. The only reason I would say if they can fix it, because during the storm, just about everybody's internet went down. I have TDS. My internet didn't go down. I was up the whole time because it's coming in through the phone lines. Phone lines are underground. So I never lost, you know, I have a generator, so everything was running on that. And so had we been on Comcast, we would have been down for
I just got mine back last night.
however long it was down. So those are things to consider. But I'm not saying that I'm not advocating for TD. I'm just saying think about that. I don't know how long we would have been down here. And maybe, I don't know if there's any way to know based on a business around here when Comcast came up. I mean, you just got it up today.
Last night.
Last night, so
Yeah.
the better part, 5 days, 4 days?
Yeah. Not enough to watch. It was like 11 o'clock and I'm going to bed and, it might be coming back. So I didn't get to watch it last night, but it was there this morning. I think my only concern is I don't care who we're with, but if they promised us the connectivity, the speed, and the whatever, then they need to deliver it because I feel like we're paying for a service and it was just smoke and mirrors. So I think that's my frustration.
With who? Comcast or with
Oh,
TDS?
TDS. Because what happens is I'm the one that gets the phone call and people are mad at me. And I have no control over it. I mean, you guys have been here long enough to see me. I've got IT on they're shadowing in the computer, they're dialing in, they're on my computer. I
Right.
can't get it to work.
We can't. I mean, it's one thing if there's a 5-minute delay or 10-minute delay, so it's not actually live, if that helps. But it's got to be dependable.
Right.
Do you have issues with TDS? Because we had all kinds of issues, and I know I brought it up
Yeah, we did too. We
before,
I
and that's
did-
why we left them.
I did back. So when I moved up here in 2013, I think I had TDS right up until somewhere around 2018, and I switched to Comcast, and then Comcast just kept getting so expensive, and I went TDS put some improvements in, and so I went back to them, and I've had no issue. My only issue I had was we took a lightning strike at the previous storm, and it took out the modem, and they couldn't get to me. It was on Thursday. Couldn't get to me till Monday. I'm like, I work from home. I got to have. So I went and Verizon gave me a cellular one, which I had 30 days free. I used it and turned it back in.
Nice.
TDS limited at 30 MPS? I mean,
What did,
every ad I get saying, hey, $30 a month, and you know, they don't never offer me anything different, and it's like 30 MPS, and with Xfinity, I'm at like,
Xfinity, it is
50.
much faster.
Yeah.
But we stream all our TVs, I'm online, I mean, and it works fine. But that home is different than streaming this. So I would challenge TDS if their system's capable of this.
Well, Jason sat in on all the meetings with TDS with me, and he thought they were gonna offer us a good product, so.
well, a trial might be in order.
agreed.
I do have one thing I need to bring up. I was going over the credit cards because we had an issue with Christina's and we had to close hers down. And
Fraud, nothing I did.
No, nothing she
Nothing
did,
I did.
nothing she did. But I was looking at the credit card policy and I noticed that the resolution only had Christina and the police department on it, and our fire department has a credit card also. So would this be an amendment to the old resolution?
Or does the fire board have to have their own?
Okay, make this a new
Well,
resolution.
because I think they're using our credit.
Oh, there you go.
Kind of a blended.
Yep.
And because we've switched all of our banking over to Southern Michigan, we're looking at their credit cards, and I would need the board to say that it's okay for me to do that. So, so besides adopting this new resolution with the assistant fire chief on here as one of the card holders, I would also need something to go look at Southern Michigan for new cards. And one of the things, I might as well bring this up now, one of the things that we're looking at is if we get cards with points, each department will have their own card, because when I talked to Jeff Rude, we can't, like, the office can't use points from the fire department, and the fire department can't use points from the police department, so they would have issued different cards. So,
All right, so I resolve that we modify the credit card policy to add in the fire department a card for the chief and the assistant chief.
I'll second it. No, we need,
For that one.
for that one.
And that's a roll call.
Christine Hutchins,
Aye.
Todd White,
Aye.
Trustee Beeks.
Aye.
Diana Langshaw.
Aye.
Aye.
All I had to do is look at you. Hey, I like that way. Aye from me, too.
All right, then I move that Clerk Stage explores the debit cards or credit cards at Southern Michigan Bank and Trust.
Say, in discussion, that typically they want a resolution to, if you want her to be able to go ahead and.
Oh.
So just change your motion to a
I
resolution.
resolve. Amanda got it. Amanda's got the support.
We have a motion, resolution.
Another roll call. You keep writing. Trustee White?
Aye.
Trustee Beeks?
Aye.
Trustee Langshaw? Supervisor Hutchins? Treasurer Wiersma?
Aye.
Trustee Harmon, aye. Clerk Stage?
Aye.
Unanimous,
Attorney
thank
Thal,
you.
if we maintain the visuals on all of our meetings, you know, as far as the, like the video, do we need roll call votes anymore?
Nice try.
Thought it would be documented.
Okay.
No, for our written minutes, we have to have it.
All right.
All right. Anybody else have anything to add before we go into second citizen comment? Second citizen comment. You have 1 minute to address the board.
My name is still Mark Rogers. 2 points. Would a board member consider reaching out to the city of Kalamazoo and ask them how do they incorporate minutes and YouTube. They may already have a policy, already went through the school of hard knocks. So that's what I would suggest. On a different topic, a lot of people have asked, what's the status of this $286,000 the authority is requesting for overages? Would it be possible on the Ross website to have a blurb in there? Attorney Thaw has requested information and it's pending, no updates. Maybe I'm a skeptic, but I can just sort of see, I don't know if fear is the right word, but I can see where the authority may take that money and roll it into other, service bills that we'll never know about. So there should be accountability on how that's going to be reconciled. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Good suggestion. Next. Okay. No further comments. We're closing at 7:53 p.m. So I am moving that the Township Board convene in closed session under Section 8(1)H of the Open Meetings Act to consider material exempt from disclosure by state statute, Section 13(1)G of the Freedom of Information Act, being a letter from its attorney dated May 20, 2025, for the reason that the letter is exempt from disclosure under state law due to the attorney-client privilege. We have a motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
None. Motion carries.
We can just stay here with nobody here as long as we close the door.
Need to make sure.
Yeah, same. All right, we will be convening into closed session. We will return
Did you stop the?
after. Nope,
Yes,
it
I
just
did.
rolls. No, that's fine, but when I shut this off, I can't, we are live recording now. When I change that. Okay, here we go.
Sorry. Didn't have anything. Okay, off we go. I get up and I have to go to the ladies' room. That's the next problem. Oh, well, I'll sit here and if I have to go, I can come out. Huh? Oh, yeah.
What time is DNR coming tomorrow? So get here at 7. You want me to come in early tomorrow? Why don't you pull everything but the microphones, the nameplates, the gavel? Oh, yeah. So? The nameplates are just, it's not like there's anybody here to see it. Oh, just set them up? Oh, okay. What's that? Hey, get back in there. She wants to go home, so you get in there.
gotta hurry up as fast as I can.
Oh, good, make them go fast.
Yes, you are authorized to speed, all right? I get very frustrated when people don't realize, you know. I got 36 square miles, was wrong, I thought it was 45, it's 36 square, 36 square miles.
I corrected you in my,
Oh,
when you were out here.
okay.
I mean, I said, 36.
But it's like, people think you can be everywhere at once, and people think that, oh, just because you see them speed, doesn't mean when they see my police car or boat, they're gonna be a problem. It's like that one Ian guy said, as long as the big guy's out there, everybody behaves. It's like, for crying out loud. I can't win, so I'm like, I'm just like, guys, I've been doing this for 4 decades. Let me know, I'll decide where I need to be and when I need to be. Probably. All right.
Good night, go to bed.
I'm gonna go home and have that. This should be very quick.
Hopefully.
I should. They've done this already. They're just
right. Oh, were you napping? Did we wake you?
Yeah, I've been playing games.
Oh, all right. All right. We are coming back into session. It is 8:59 PM. We're waiting for a couple individuals to come back from closed session.
I move we come back into open session.
I support.
We have a motion and support to come back into open session. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you.
I'd like to go ahead and take the floor, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
I'd like to make a motion that I move that Ross Township provide notice to Life Care Ambulance that the current contract is not being renewed. Further, that the township attorney enter an immediate negotiation regarding a one-year agreement for a review period. Further, that the township supervisor and trustee Beeks, myself, work with Attorney Thal in negotiations with Life Care Ambulance so that the new agreement may be submitted to the board for approval at the June 2025 regular meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and support. Is there any further discussion?
I just want to share that as we work with that contract, I think at the same time we have to embed in that contract a number of things in terms of reporting, how we get information to our constituents. We talk about the fact that we'll let them operate as they operated, those kind of things. So I think that, and knowing that it would be a year instead of 6 months, it should be very helpful to them to really step up to the plate and perform or not.
Right, and I know you're going to talk when you negotiate with them. I think it's important that if there's things that we don't set them up to fail. So, for example, the 24/7 staying here, if they absolutely cannot live with that, then we need to evaluate. We're operating really without them doing that. So is that something that we pull out or rephrase it so they're not set up to fail?
Right. Totally agree. That's all part of the reason for the motion.
Good discussion. Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have an aye from trustee Beeks. He was not on camera or not on the microphone.
Yeah. Aye.
So, does anybody have any trustee updates? All right. I'd be seeking a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Everybody have a good night.
At least it's not pouring out like it was when everybody